Borderlands, Raven Rituals 666 coming back to you with the updated change skills for Hiroshimoze. Alright, let's get into it. Let's start off with a little bit of gameplay, and then I'll talk through some of the skill choices, just to show you how much this annihilates. This build has been one I've been using since early stages of the game. This is what this build is entitled around, the dropping of these nukes and watching everything die. It does feel a little bit like Hiroshima, so bad pun intended. Sorry to all those guys, unfortunately the victims of such a horrible thing. However, it just works with the name, Hiroshimoze. Look, we've got multiple different weapons that you can use from Chaosins, but this build is centered around a Radiation Moze. Pretty much, we're using radiation, any incendiary or URAD anointments on our gear. Grenades, recurring hex is a great option for bringing back your grenades for the regen. However, it's just an absolutely fun build. Like Iron Bear, you can roll around, cruise through, kill enemies. But this is some of the most fun I've had since playing Borderlands. Pre-buff for Moze, this build was still viable and I was using for the Mali 1 takedown, but this just shreds through using these nukes in the latest Guardian takedown. Auto Bear, by the way, does way too much damage now. You can almost solo takedown the takedown with Auto Bear, which is pretty insane, but just fun. Got our wonderful Chaosin. Alright, so let's talk through some of the skill points and some of our options here. So, firstly, Hiroshimoze. What we are doing is we are centering this build around the wonderful augment hammer down protocol. So instead of a volley of conventional rockets, the Vanquisher rocket pod launches a single rocket with a nuclear warhead, dealing massive radiation damage. So that's where this build idea came from. So for anyone that doesn't know, short fuse is Moze's best capstone. So when we're going to start, firstly we're going to go fire in the Skag Den, 5 points into here. So whenever Moze deals splash damage, she deals bonus incendiary damage. Helps massively for mobbing. It does actually damage yourself, so if you were using red suit shield for example, you will still kill yourself because of fire in the Skag Den. However, great skill, I always pick this one up. We are going to 3 points in a means of destruction, so whenever Moze deals splash damage, there's a chance to add ammo to a currently equipped weapon's magazine, with a smaller chance to return to grade. This is fantastic. We are getting a lot of ammo regen and grenade regen through this build, which is fantastic. Tor cross promotion, it was buffed a while ago, but absolutely awesome that we've finally got a skill point for Moze that deals splash damage. So this is a skill I have picked up, 5 points compared to my previous build guide. Great for doubling the splash damage radius as well. Stainless Steel Bear, so we do go 5 points in the Stainless Steel Bear over Grizzled. Previously it has been proccing the damage of short fuse. I do believe Gearbox will end up nerfing this. However, it's still fantastic because we are getting Iron Bear damage. Just 4 points into here for 16% Iron Bear damage. And next we want to drop down to Pull the Holy Pin, 3 points straight into there. So our grenades have a chance to score a crit hit. So this is really a great skill to have if you are using a recurring hex. I currently haven't found one yet on Mayhem 10 as this build's just come out. However, awesome for the health linked with Vampire, which is the next skill I want to pick up. So 3 points in there is enough, especially with the new Mayhem 10 grenades that are coming out. Down the track, it may be viable that you could only put a couple of points into here. However, 3 points at the moment means whenever you throw a grenade, your shield capacity or your health will go straight back up, which I'll talk through in a bit. Auto Bear. After Moze exits Iron Bear, it will remain deployed in place for a short time. That's pretty much allowing us to do double the damage. We can jump in Iron Bear, we can get out, we can proc our anointments. Pretty much, Iron Bear will solo kill enemies and you'll just watch them be deleted off the map. Thanks to the wonderful damage of Hammer Down Protocol. We go 1 point to the last. It's great to be able to throw grenades when you're in a fight for your life. And now that grenades are actually strong, I have got a point back into there. And then to finish off with our blue cheat, we're going into short fuse. So next I go across into bottomless mags. Cloud of Lead, I always pick up 5 points in there. Because Moze and Iron Bear's shots occasionally will deal bonus incendiary damage, won't consume ammo. This is great for that Hiroshimoze effect because we're mainly using radiation gear. However, to get that bit of incendiary damage on the side, very nice to have. 3 points in to Stoke the Embers. Increase Moze and Iron Bear's incendiary damage, which is really great because we want to be using either radiation gear with bonus incendiary anointments. Redistribution. So this is a fabulous skill. You get so much ammo regen back through crit hits. Now that our grenades proc crit hits, it means we can regen more ammo. Awesome skill once we're using this with click click, which I'll get to. 5 points in a Scrappy. While moving, Moze's weapon damage, handling, weapon swap, and mode switch speed are increased. So now we're getting some damage along with handling in this skill, which is absolutely fantastic. So I've tested it with and without, but 5 points I absolutely recommend putting in the Scrappy. So down here you do have a little bit more flexibility to your points. I do pick up 1 into Russian Offensive. You really don't have to pick this skill up on this build, and you could chuck that in Scorching RPMs, or if you don't have much mag size, you could put it in there. However, I pick up Russian Offensive for that 8% lifesteal while we're running. It does work quite well with the Chaosin because you can shoot an enemy and start running, and those secondary effects will give you extra healing. 4 points into Scorching RPMs. We gain increased fire rate, crit hit damage. Iron Bear gets increased hardpoint damage, so really nice to have. I do put 1 point into Specialist Bear. Now, for this build, Hiroshimoze, we do need to pick up Specialist Bear. That just means our Iron Bear damage is up by 60%, which really helps us to delete those enemies off the map. And for our damage skill over here, we're going click click. We gain increased gun damage as our magazine empties. Now with the ammo regen that we're getting, especially from hitting crit hits, you can keep your magazine down quite low for a period of time, doing up to 60% damage. But this skill, even when you do have a higher amount in your magazine, will mean that you will still be getting at least 20% damage even after a few shots in your mag size. So this is absolutely fantastic. Last but not least, we're going across into Shield of Retribution. So this is where we're getting survivability for this build. Previously, in my last Hiroshimoze build, I haven't gone down here, but I'll talk through the changes now. So 5 points into Armored Infantry. We want that damage reduction. Extra 15% gun damage is nice to have. 13% damage reduction, fantastic. Now 3 points in a Thin Red Line. This means that portion of our health is reserved and cannot be restored, adding to our maximum shield. So this means all automatically under the 50% health. This allows us to use our URAD anointments, which is while under 50% health, gain 150% bonus radiation damage, which is wonderful anointment, which is also what I've incorporated into this build. 1 point Drowning in Brass. Now this is a really great skill. You could put an extra point into there and go 1 less on click click if you're not really using the gear that you can keep at a low mag count. However, I'll talk through that a bit more when we get to the gear. You can see I've got an extra point into Thin Red Line from my class mod as we are using a Bloodletter. 2 points into Desperate Measures, which allows us to get our gun damage up to 30%. And 2 points in the Phalanx Doctrine, which is a wonderful, wonderful skill. Now, I love these two skills, which is why I've changed this build to a Bloodletter build and a Deathless build, as some of you might be aware, compared to the Splash Master, the Blast Master class mod build. But let's talk through the gear and I'll show you why. So, we've got the idea of the build, which comes from dropping those nukes, creating that Hiroshima style effect. Next, we want the damage. So that's why we've gone down to click click, no further. We don't need Forge for this build. We're still going to have plenty of ammo regen, and we don't need some for the road. Like I said, we've got heaps of ammo regen. Coming across here, we've got that survivability. I would have loved to be able to get down to experimental munitions, but when the next skills come down, skill points are released, I'll go more Drowning in Brass. So let's look at our class mod. So we are going with the Desperate Entrenched Bloodletter. So if Moze would be healed, she gains shields instead. If she would regen health, she also gains shield regeneration. This is why we have upwards of 70,000 shields, as you just saw through my gameplay. I'm using heavy weapon damage, sniper rifle damage, and radiation resistance, just for a little bit more survivability. However, you can use whatever Bloodletter you want, weapon damage, mag size. The key when you are looking for your Bloodletter is that you've got 2 into points into Phalanx Doctrine, 2 points into Desperate Measures, and 1 at least in the Thin Red Line, so you can get that little bit more survivability. Next, for a shield, I am going with the Zen Old God. Now, this is not even a God rolled one. I'd prefer to have bonus radiation damage or bonus incendiary damage on action skill end. However, we've got good recharge delay and a bit of resistance to last damage type, which is nice because sometimes you can put yourself down from radiation damage. However, you get up in a flash. Next, I am using a Last Stand Deathless. Now, Last Stand is not relevant in this build. We're below 50% health, so we're not getting any invulnerability from it. However, down the bottom of those 3 rolls under the red text, that is what we're looking for. We want area of effect damage. That is crucial to this build, so keep an eye, whatever class artifact you're using, keep an eye out for area effect damage. I have a few others that I can use. Atom Bomb Deathless is probably the ideal artifact for this build. However, mine does not have area of effect damage. Still works wonderful with the bonus rad damage, a little bit of extra shield and the incendiary resistance. But I would recommend, if you could get a god roll, go Atom Bomb Deathless, go for area of effect damage, radiation damage, and grenade damage. Going to be really, really helpful. Other couple of things that's nice to have is action skill cooldown rate and mag size if you don't get those. We'll have a Cut Purse Deathless, though you never need it. I do use my Elemental Projector Splatter Gun when it comes to bossing, as you do sometimes take yourself a bit of radiation damage. This has got great rolls. That's what we want. Area effect damage, radiation damage, grenade damage. When it comes to bossing, you're going to be one-shotting, two-shotting most bosses with this build. So really, really wonderful to have. I do have Snowdrift Deathless with AOD on it as well, just for scooting through maps when I'm bossing. Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. Amazing artifact. I'll talk through in a little bit, but what you can do when it comes to bossing is swap this out for a wonderful Minesweeper. With these rolls on it, and it really helps to get your grenade damage up for bossing. So let's have a look at my favorite guns for this build. So I am using and adopting Disciplined Chaosin. Now the key is when you are getting a Chaosin, you want the ×2 on the damage. Consecutive hits is amazing as it procs with short fuse, so really wonderful to have. However, this build, there's a few different anointments that we're really looking for. All that can work, which does make it much easier to farm for. Ultimately, we want to be using URAD. So while under 50% health, deal 150% bonus radiation damage, as we're going to get a massive amount of damage. Otherwise, we want to be using on action skill, and the next 2 magazines will have 100% additional bonus incendiary damage. Or, as Moze has her own anointment, we want to be using on action skill end, the next 2 mags have 125% bonus incendiary damage. We can use our wonderful anointments of, while Order Bay is active, deal 130% bonus incendiary damage. But the main gear that we are using is either radiation damage with added anointments with splash damage weapons. So splash damage, splash damage, splash damage, splash damage really helps to proc with those skills, but also with our class mods as well. So look, we are using Explicit Beacon. This is a new gun from the DLC. I love this anointment, the 160% increased splash damage for 18 seconds. Fantastic to have as well. So key anointments, just to recap. Bonus incendiary damage on action skill end. While under 50% health, deal 150% bonus radiation damage. The splash damage after exiting Iron Bear, the bonus 125% incendiary damage. Really wonderful to have. So as you can see, I always have cutscenes in every character build. The No Pew Pew is absolutely fantastic with this build. It does proc with short fuse nicely. I do have a Nuclear Monarch that I do switch to in my backpack, which we can swap out for that back burner with the bonus incendiary damage. The Tix Boom actually works pretty well with this build, so keep an eye out if you do get one with the URAD anointment. Does a lot of damage. The Recursion just annihilates with every character. Itchy Flacker works okay. I do have a Radiation Lob that does work quite well. I do enjoy using the Sublime Firestorm with bonus rad damage, but the ultimate goal is these 4 pieces of gear here, 5 including our wonderful new weapon, the Beacon. Hellshock is absolutely amazing with this, as well as a Monarch, which I currently swapped to, that doesn't even have a great anointment, but still tears up in this build. Sandhawk is awesome. This gun, 2 shots, drops most enemies off the map. But the key to this build as well is then going to be that survivability. So we are using grenades for survivability. I am using a cloning big Bangatron tracker, which gives me enough survivability. However, the ultimate grenade for your healing would be a cloning maddening tracker. We still probably want the on grenade thrown, weapon, grenade, and action skill damage are increased by 25% for 6 seconds. This just means we can consistently do more damage with this build. However, also when it comes to a shield, you can swap out and use a transformer. I do use a one-shotter shield when it comes to bossing, just with a yellow cake or with a backburner, or even with your Sandhawk, just annihilates bosses. But let's go back, finish off with a little bit of gameplay. But to all my Dark Obsidian followers and streamers, thank you so much. This has been wonderful to show you what we can do with our wonderful Hiroshimoze. So we have gone down, we're not paying attention. Let's finish off. So much time up our sleeve. No worries at all. Best part as well, jump into Iron Bear. If you are getting low on your shield, as you can see, you can keep it up. I can hit him with our Kosen, run away and keep my shield full, as that's what we're using, that life steal. Let's have a look at our Monarch. See how much damage this still does. Still annihilates without even a strong anointment, thanks to Sean's skills. So great skills. Sandhawk absolutely shreds. Jump into Iron Bear, and let's pick him up. That is what this build is about. It is so much fun just dropping 2 nukes, wiping enemies off the map. Boom. Boom. So my Dark Obsidian followers, thank you so much for your time. Please give this build a go. It's the updated skills, Raven Ritual 666. Thank you so much. Bye for now.